They said the voice on the phone was hers, slurred, angry, unprofessional. They claimed she had called her boss after midnight, quit on the spot, and insulted half the department. But Monica had been asleep in her apartment that night, preparing for the most important presentation of her career. She hadn't made that call. She hadn't said those words. Yet the next morning, security wouldn't let her in the building. Her keycard blinked red. Her name was gone from the system. Just like that, 18 years of commitment and reputation vanished. It wasn't just a job she lost. It was her dignity, her identity, everything she had built. She stood on the sidewalk with frozen fingers and a heart pounding in disbelief, not knowing yet that the voice that destroyed her belonged to someone who once called her sister. Monica had been born into a family that, from the outside, looked picture perfect. Christmas cards in matching sweaters, potluck Sundays, a neat row of graduation photos on the mantel. But beneath that curated facade was a silent hierarchy. She was the reliable one, the fixer, the child who didn't stir the waters. Her younger sister Keisha, by contrast, was the delicate one, the golden child. With a smile that charmed everyone and a voice that dissolved conflict, Keisha moved through life cushioned. Their parents doted on Keisha's softness. They called Monica strong, as if that was praise, as if it explained why every burden fell on her shoulders. The sisters grew up on a quiet street in West Philadelphia, in a modest brick house with a porch swing that creaked like it held secrets. From the sidewalk, they looked like any working-class family trying to keep it together. Their father drove city buses. Their mother ran the household with a firm hand and a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Monica learned early how to sense tension before it erupted. She packed Keisha's lunch, walked her to school, covered for her when their parents' shouting rattled the plates in the cabinets. Keisha, 2 years younger and endlessly adored, was spared responsibility. "She's tender-hearted," their mother would say, like that meant immunity. "She's not built like you, Monica. You're strong." Being strong meant carrying emotional weight, financial worry, and invisible wounds. When Monica got straight A's, her parents gave a nod. When Keisha passed gym, they threw a party. Monica stopped chasing their approval long ago. Not out of bitterness, just quiet resignation. Strength had made her dependable. It had also made her invisible. It started with a text, just one, from her supervisor. "Can we talk?" No context, no warmth. Her stomach dropped. She called immediately. No answer. Then came the email from HR. "Please return your company laptop and badge. Your termination letter is enclosed." No explanation. No appeal, just the cold finality of corporate language. She sat frozen, rereading the words until they blurred. She didn't cry, not yet. Shock has a way of putting emotion on pause. She drove straight to her parents' house. Keisha was there, sitting at the kitchen table like nothing had happened, scrolling through her phone. Monica's voice trembled when she asked, "Did you call my office pretending to be me?" Keisha looked up, wide-eyed, blinking like Monica had spoken in another language. Then she laughed, nervous, high-pitched. "What are you even talking about?" Monica pressed play on the recording. The voice mimicked her tone too well. Just enough slur, just enough bitterness to sound unhinged. Keisha's smile faltered, her fingers tightening around her phone. Their mother rushed in, apron still on, demanding to know what the yelling was about. Monica turned to her. "She called my boss. She got me fired." And just like that, the script flipped. Her mother didn't gasp. She didn't demand answers. She placed a hand on Keisha's shoulder and said, "Monica, don't overreact. I'm sure it was just a misunderstanding." Her father appeared in the doorway, coffee in hand, eyes scanning the room like he'd walked into someone else's problem. When Monica explained it again, clear, calm, undeniable, He sighed, like she'd ruined his afternoon. "Let's not turn this into a federal case," he said. "Keisha probably thought it was a joke." Keisha burst into tears. Right on cue. "I didn't think they'd actually fire her," she cried. "I was going to call back." "I swear I was." And just like that, she became the victim. Their mother pulled her close. Their father mumbled something about corporate overreaction. And Monica stood there, watching the people who raised her treat a deliberate betrayal like spilled milk. No one asked how she felt. No one offered comfort. No one even said, "That was wrong." She drove home in silence, knowing she'd been made the villain for expecting accountability. And for the first time in her life, she understood, fully, painfully, that she was on her own. The days that followed felt like falling without landing. Her savings, modest at best, began to dissolve beneath bills that didn't pause to acknowledge her crisis. She applied for unemployment, but because she'd been fired for cause, they opened an investigation. That phrase, "for cause," clung to her like a stain. Rent was due in 2 weeks. Her landlord was sympathetic for about 3 minutes, until she reminded him that sympathy doesn't pay mortgages. She sold her TV, then her kitchen mixer, then her grandmother's gold earrings, gifts left to her in the will. She spent her mornings sending resumes, her afternoons refreshing her inbox, and her nights calculating what she could live without. She didn't sleep much. Shame is loud at night, but the worst part wasn't the money. It was the silence from the people she once called family. Not one call, not one visit, except for a single text from her mother. "Keisha's moving to Atlanta. Family dinner this Sunday to send her off. Hope you can make it." No mention of her firing. No question of how she was doing. No apology. She didn't respond. She couldn't. Instead, she called Denise, an old college roommate turned elementary school teacher, and asked if she could crash on her couch for a while. Denise didn't ask questions. She just said, "Of course," like it was the most natural thing in the world. That first night on her lumpy couch, listening to the soft hum of the fish tank in the corner, Monica cried for the first time since everything happened. Not because she was sad, but because someone still saw her. The next morning, she borrowed Denise's Wi-Fi and updated her resume again, removing her last job altogether. Every interview she landed ended the same way. Awkward silence when they asked why she left Meridian, their eyes narrowing slightly like they'd already heard a version of the story, and believed it. One recruiter even said, "We heard there was an incident." That's how quickly a reputation crumbles. Not with a crash, with a whisper. Out of desperation more than hope, she signed up to deliver groceries through an app. She borrowed Denise's old bicycle and pedaled across neighborhoods, sweating through dress shirts she once wore to client meetings. She remembered standing on someone's porch one afternoon, waiting for them to open the door and seeing her reflection in the glass. Hair pulled back messily, shadows under her eyes, a paper bag of groceries in hand. And she thought, "Keisha did this to me." And no one stopped her. That night, as she sorted coins to buy a cheap dinner, a part of her hardened. Not with anger, but with clarity. She realized that survival wasn't just about money or food. It was about dignity. And even though everything she had was gone, she still had that. She promised herself, in that dim kitchen with one flickering light bulb, that if the world ever gave her a chance again, she'd take it. And this time, no one would take it from her. It was raining the day everything changed. Not the kind of cinematic storm seen in movies. Just a steady gray drizzle that made the whole city feel like it needed sleep. Monica didn't want to go out. She was tired. Her legs ached from biking up hills with bags of groceries. Her back ached from the couch that wasn't hers, but Denise nudged her gently, like only an old friend could. There's a free networking mixer downtown, Denise said. It's for tech folks. Maybe someone there knows someone who knows someone. Monica almost said no. She had no clean clothes, no new business cards, no confidence. But she went. She crossed out her old company name on the few cards she had left and wrote her personal email by hand. The venue was a co-working space with high ceilings and too many plants. Everyone wore the same smart, casual confidence, like they were exactly where they were meant to be. Monica felt like an imposter. Her shoes were worn at the soles. Her blouse had a tiny tear near the hem. She hovered near the drinks table, quietly hoping no one would notice her. That's when she heard a voice, low, assured, with the rasp of a woman who'd smoked menthols in her youth, but gave them up when she got serious about running companies. "You look like you could use this more than me," the woman said, handing Monica a glass of wine. Monica took it with a nervous smile. "That obvious?" she asked. The woman laughed. "Honey, half the people in this room are pretending. You're just surviving." "That makes you the most real person here." Her name was Joyce Harmon, COO of a small but ambitious fintech startup called Common Ledger. She asked Monica what she did, and for once, Monica didn't embellish. "Marketing. Been out of work a few months. Bit of a rough patch," she said. Joyce didn't flinch. She didn't ask why. She just nodded. "You ever marketed to people over 50? Monica blinked. "I mean, not directly, but I understand traditional channels pretty well." Joyce smiled. "Good. All these 20-somethings think TikTok is a strategy. I need someone who remembers how trust used to be built." Then Joyce handed her a card. Simple, white, no flair. "Come in tomorrow at 10, she said. "Can't promise much, but we need people who've been through things." The next morning, Monica arrived early. The office was in a converted laundromat. It still smelled faintly of detergent. There was no receptionist, just a shared desk space and a coffee machine older than she was. Joyce interviewed her over a cup of instant coffee and a sandwich she split in half. Monica told her everything. Not the scandal, but the years of experience, the way she'd built campaigns from nothing, the clients she'd nurtured, the numbers she'd hit. Joyce listened. Really listened. When Monica finished, Joyce looked at her and said, "You've got grit. That's rarer than talent." Then she pushed a notebook toward her. "Welcome aboard." It wasn't a fancy job. The pay was basic. The role was humble. But to Monica, it felt like air returning to her lungs. It was a chance, a small one. But it was hers. The first few weeks at Common Ledger were humbling. Monica was no longer the rising star with the corner office and catered lunches. She was a marketing assistant, working in a building that still had the outline of old washing machines etched into the floor. The desks wobbled. The heat worked only when it felt generous. And every Friday the internet went down for at least an hour. But for the first time in months, she woke up with purpose. The team was small, 5 full-timers and a handful of contractors. But they moved like a unit. There was no ego, no whispering behind closed doors. Just tired people trying to build something they believed in. Monica wasn't just allowed to speak up. She was expected to. In meetings, they didn't care about where she'd worked. They cared about what she saw. And what she saw was a gap. Their product helped people manage shared expenses, roommates, divorced parents, caregiving families. But they were marketing it like a budgeting app for tech-savvy millennials. It was missing the real heart of the issue. Money between people wasn't about math. It was about trust, awkwardness, boundaries. One night, after everyone had gone home, Monica stayed late sketching ideas on the office whiteboard. Scenarios she knew too well. Friends splitting rent, siblings fighting over who paid last, adult children managing bills for aging parents. She wrote taglines. She doodled mock-ups. She built characters who reminded her of the people she'd once carried silently. Her father, always watching receipts. Her mother, pretending her stress was elegance. Keisha, somehow always at the center of the financial storm, untouched. The next morning, during their team huddle, Monica pitched it, a series of animated explainer videos. Short, relatable, warm. No jargon, just real-life messiness and how their app could help. There was a pause. Then the product manager, a skeptical man named Mark, who rarely reacted to anything, nodded slowly. "That's actually brilliant," he muttered. She caught Joyce's eye. Joyce didn't smile, but she gave Monica the smallest nod. That was enough. Within weeks, the video series went live. Simple animations, real scripts, stories that didn't feel like ads. The response was immediate. User retention jumped. People started emailing them, not about bugs, but to say, "That video felt like my life." They didn't just sell a tool, they validated experiences. For the first time in a long while, Monica felt seen. Not just as an employee, but as a person with insight born from bruises. And slowly, quietly, she started rebuilding. She moved out of Denise's place into a tiny apartment with peeling linoleum and a leaky faucet, but it was hers. She adopted a rescue dog, an anxious little mutt with one eye and a habit of trembling during thunderstorms. She named her Olive, like the branch. Every night she'd walk Olive through their neighborhood, passing houses with warm windows and quiet laughter. Monica didn't envy them. She didn't ache for what they had. She just felt calm. Because she wasn't chasing approval anymore. She was chasing peace. And she was getting closer. A year later, that little team, with Monica now leading strategy, secured a major partnership with a national credit union. Downloads skyrocketed. Investors took notice. Common Ledger got acquired, and just like that, Monica became a millionaire. Not overnight, but enough to pay off debts, buy a small home, and finally breathe. News of the company's success made its way back to her hometown through LinkedIn posts, local papers, or maybe whispers from someone who used the app. Either way, her family knew. And that's when the invitation started. The invitation came wrapped in guilt, just like always. It arrived through a group text from Monica's mother, typed as if the years of silence and betrayal had never happened. "Family dinner this Sunday. Your father's grilling. Keisha's flying in from Atlanta. Everyone's excited to see you." There was no mention of the past, no apology, no acknowledgement. Just the assumption that Monica would come, because she always had. She hesitated, not out of longing, but out of curiosity. Had they changed? Had she? The restaurant they chose wasn't their usual. It was upscale, white tablecloths, glass walls, the kind of place where the wine list came in its own leather-bound folder. Monica arrived early, choosing a seat with a full view of the entrance. Her reflection in the window caught her attention. Pressed blazer, calm eyes, and a subtle stillness in her shoulders that hadn't been there before. She looked different. Settled. Her parents were the first to arrive. Her mother smiled too brightly. "Monica, you look professional." Monica gave a polite nod. Her father extended his hand like he was greeting an old colleague. "Always knew you'd land on your feet." She said nothing. Next came Ethan, her older brother, accompanied by a bubbly woman Monica didn't recognize. "Kayla," he introduced. His girlfriend, apparently. Kayla was chatty and wide-eyed, full of questions about the tech world. Monica responded with polite, distant smiles. Keisha, as expected, made an entrance, 20 minutes late. Draped in designer, arm hooked over a luxury bag, her arrival practically choreographed for Instagram. "Monica," she squealed, brushing the air near Monica's cheek. "You're glowing. Must be that executive salary, huh?" Monica sipped her water, steady. Good to see you, Keisha. The first half of dinner unfolded as thinly disguised reconnaissance. Her mother spoke of church renovations. Ethan detailed a promotion that sounded more fiction than fact. Keisha dropped influencer names with curated casualness. Not once did anyone ask Monica how she'd been. Not once did anyone say, "We're sorry." Not until dessert did the real performance begin. Her father spoke first, swirling his wine like it was part of a script. "Your mother and I are thinking about retiring early." Monica's fork paused midair. "That's nice." He leaned in slightly. "But the market's been rough, and the house needs a new roof. Medical expenses, too, from last year." Her mother coughed, delicately for effect. Then Ethan jumped in. "Actually, I've been working on a new idea. An app for dog owners, like Tinder, but for pets." He slid a poorly formatted folder across the table. "Just need a little seed funding." Keisha, of course, followed. "I'm so close to getting picked up by a real brand," she said, eyes gleaming. "But I need better equipment. Lighting, camera, the works." "Maybe 50,000? I could tag your company. Cross-promotion." Monica looked around the table. Her family, each presenting their needs like candidates in a job interview, dressed in expectation, speaking as if her success belonged to them, as if time had erased betrayal, as if their absence during her worst moments no longer mattered. She set her napkin down slowly. "So let me understand. You all invited me here to ask for money." Silence. Then her mother spoke, voice soft. "Sweetheart, we're family. Family helps each other." Monica met her mother's eyes. "Where was that family when I was sleeping on someone's couch? When I was delivering groceries to survive? When your daughter pretended to be me and got me fired?" No one answered. They just blinked. She leaned back and smiled, not bitter, but clear. "I'll think about it," she said. But she already knew the answer. She didn't think long. She didn't need to. The answer had been forming for months, quietly, in the spaces where love should have lived. That night, she sat at her desk with a legal pad and a black pen, the same tools she used in college when she couldn't afford a laptop. One by one, she drafted 4 letters. Not rants. Not revenge, just truth. Clean, undeniable, and wrapped in finality. For Keisha, she printed the transcript of the fake phone call, the one that got her fired. She added a list of every bill she couldn't pay that month, including the pawn slip for Grandma's earrings. Then she attached a certificate, a $5,000 donation in Keisha's name to a workplace harassment nonprofit, with a mandatory workshop attached. Her note read, "You didn't ruin me, but you changed me. This is your mirror. Whether you look into it or not is up to you." For her parents, she included a spreadsheet. Every dollar spent on Keisha's failed ventures, cosmetology school, photography school, real estate classes, was tallied. Then she added pamphlets on financial literacy and aging with dignity. She ended with, "I'm not your retirement plan, and I'm not angry, just done." Ethan's envelope held his startup idea edited. She'd written comments in red ink, showing him where it failed. She included contact info for real business incubators and a gift card for career counseling. The note was short. Build something real. Or stop asking others to. She mailed the packages with tracking numbers, each requiring a signature. No more excuses, no more pretending. They would read her words, or they would choose not to. But either way, they'd feel the weight of being seen. Then she turned off her phone, walked Olive through the city, and felt the first breath of air that didn't carry the weight of someone else's expectations. She hadn't sent money. She'd sent the truth. And for once, that felt like enough. The fallout arrived like clockwork. Her phone lit up the next morning. Calls, texts, voicemails like angry dominoes. Her mother left 6 messages by noon, cycling from confusion to guilt to tears. "How could you humiliate us?" she sobbed. Her father was colder. "If you think you're better than us, say it outright." Ethan sent one text. "Low blow, Monica." Keisha exploded, pages of rage ending with, "Nobody treats me like this." Not one of them addressed what she'd written, not the facts, not the silence, not the survival. They didn't hate the lie. They hated the truth. Surprisingly, an old cousin messaged, "I didn't know, I'm sorry." And just like that, the narrative began to shift. She didn't explain. She didn't respond. She just exhaled, with nothing left to prove. That spring, the city bloomed slow and soft. She walked Olive through quiet streets. The dog no longer flinched. Neither did she. At work, her video series became part of onboarding. Joyce promoted her with a quiet nod and a new email signature. It was enough. She joined a leadership book club, Black women sharing unspoken wounds. One night, Ethan emailed, "I started the course. Just wanted you to know." She replied, "Good, keep going." Her family stayed silent, but that silence no longer stung. It felt like peace. She didn't win. It wasn't a triumph. It was a boundary, a quiet life, not built on spite, but on self-respect. Sometimes healing is this: walking your dog at dusk, tea in your own kitchen, knowing you didn't become them. Knowing you finally became you.